Why do the religious not know what words mean? I mean, we see this all the time, but I think this one takes the cake. For example, are there any questions in here at all? Or is it just a bunch of bald assertions based on ignorance because the religious really wish it was true? I don't get it, but then again, I've really given up trying to understand the religious. The dumb is just far too strong. So here we go again. We haven't done a Muslim video for a while, so let's do that today. This one comes from a brand new channel called Opening Faith, and so far, they're really not doing well. I think we need to keep criticizing these channels that are just pandering to the religiously gullible and pretending to be addressing atheism because they never ever are. It's all just a sham, but that's what religion is, right? It's a sham. So here comes 5 questions atheists can't answer, but Islam does. And I think he's got that backwards, but I guess we're going to have to go look and see.
Atheists claim science and logic are all we need.
I can't think of a single atheist, at least not that I've ever heard, say that. We need more than that. I need food. I need air. I need companionship. I need lots of things that don't fall under science or logic. So that's just wrong. Not like it's much of a surprise. Granted, this is all just preaching to the choir because he knows that's where his money is. Or it would be if he had more than 5 subscribers, which at the moment, at least as I'm writing this, that's what he's got. And again, this guy is getting positively slammed in the comments by atheists because he absolutely deserves it. So this is not a good start, but let's see if it gets any better.
But what happens when science itself points to something bigger? Today, we're tackling 5 questions even the most stubborn skeptics can't answer.
I bet that I can answer every single one of them easily. Now, it's not going to be the answers that you want, but they will be answers nonetheless, because they're either painfully simple to address or are based on absurd religious misconceptions, right? Because this is how this always goes. Not that the religious tend to care, because as we know, this isn't actually about addressing and interacting with atheists. It's about pandering to a religious audience that, at least in this case, doesn't really exist yet. Although, granted, this is only the 3rd video on the channel when it came out, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and a little bit of leeway. So let's get back and see where this goes, because honestly, I don't think it's going to go anywhere good.
And how Islam solves them.
I bet it doesn't, because we see this from the Christian side all the time, right? Yet the so-called solutions are just bald-ass assertions presented with no evidence, and my book says a thing. Nobody cares about your theology. We care about your grasp on reality, and sadly, these people don't have any. So we get posturing, as pointless as it is. Can we get to something worthwhile, please? Because that would sure be nice.
Let's get controversial. Atheists say the universe just exists. But how?
I guess that depends on exactly what you mean, which I figure he'll never get into, at least not in any detail, because this isn't about atheism at all. The universe clearly exists. There it is. Again, assuming that we accept what our senses tell us, because we just can't solve the problem of hard solipsism and all, but since all parties involved actually accept that, we can just move on. The universe is there. Check. How? Well, we know a lot of the details, but not all of them, and we might never know all of them. Welcome to the real world. The fact that you might want to know doesn't mean that you do know, nor does it grant you a license to just make shit up because you really wish you knew. That's what the religious are doing after all, because they're uncomfortable not understanding everything right this second. Except that's stupid and irrational, but look at who we're talking about, right?
The Quran answers, did the disbelievers not see that the heavens and earth were one mass? Then we split them apart. Quran 21:30.
We still don't give a damn about your stupid book, at least until you can prove, with corroboratory evidence, that everything in it is actually true. That's the place where they always go wrong, not that they care. So anything here that's just reading from your crap book, that doesn't count because no atheist would ever accept an unwarranted and unjustified claim as actual knowledge. It doesn't matter what you believe, it matters what you can prove. Granted, he's not talking to us at all, is he? I wonder why. Oh right, because we just kick his ass intellectually, just like everybody's already doing in the comments. How could I forget?
Science calls this the Big Bang, a moment of creation from nothing, but who caused it?
And there's the misconception that immediately shows what a complete dipshit this guy is. He's assuming a someone, not what person. That's the preconception that the religious simply can't get rid of, and they all do it, right? No evidence, just God done it, for whatever God you happen to like. Sorry, but that's not supported by any evidence, is it? Just because you really like your silly book, that doesn't make your book true. And it's the truth that matters, not the blind faith and not the childish fifis. Just because some primitive screwhead in the Middle Ages wrote it down, that doesn't make it so. So atheists win this one because we have realistic expectations. Muslims fail. Miserably. What the hell else is new?
Islam says Allah, the first and the last, Quran 57:3. No infinite regress, no lucky accident, just divine power.
Shit they just so happen to like. So what? Because this is where they always go wrong. What you want to be true is irrelevant. We care only what is actually true, what is demonstrably true, and you have no evidence whatsoever to show that the crap in your stupid book ever happened. It doesn't matter if you like it, that just makes you a moron. That's not really something that you should be proud of, is it? So why are the religious always so proud? Because they're stupid.
Atheism says life has no purpose. We are cosmic accidents. But your fitra screams, there's more.
More wishful thinking on your part, yes. There is no inherent, demonstrable purpose to anything. We're just here. It's up to us to figure out what we want to go do with ourselves while we're here, and mostly we have. We have assigned ourselves purpose and meaning and decided what we wanted to do in our limited time on this planet. So what the hell is wrong with the religious? Why do they want some magical man in the sky to tell them what the hell to go do with themselves? Because they're stupid. They are immature children who refuse to grow up and deal with actual reality. Because they don't care. All of these religious videos suffer from the same failure. They only care if everyone is just like they are, and increasingly, people aren't. People are getting too smart to fall for the religious bullshit, which is why most religions are focused on third world countries where people don't have an education. When you get too smart for this crap, they go looking for dumber people. They don't try to justify their beliefs in a more intelligent way. This is not the hallmark of anything that is actually true. It just proves what a complete scam it all is.
The Quran declares, I did not create jinn and humans except to worship me. Quran 51:56.
I don't care about your book. Fuck you, and fuck your book, and fuck your idiot imaginary sky daddy. Because these people can't tell the difference between their childish religious fantasies and the real world. And as we know, mostly they just don't care. They are after comfort, not fact. If you need to quote out of your stupid book all the time, a book with no rational support, period, then you're doing intelligence wrong. Also, you have to know that atheists, you know, the people that you're supposedly addressing, those people, you have to understand that we don't care about your stupid book, right? So reading passages is a complete waste of everyone's time. Not that they care, because they're not really talking to us. They're talking to each other and playing make-believe. You know, just like they do with their entire idiotic religion.
Worship isn't just prayer, it's living with gratitude, justice and love.
Sure, bowing down and kissing some invisible spook in the sky's ass is very loving. Are you listening to yourself? Of course not. Religion would be gone in a generation if anyone stopped to think about the crap that they believe, instead of just being brainwashed into it and told they'd better not ask any difficult questions or else. Because the threats are always inherent in the religious lie, aren't they? Do what we tell you or something bad might happen. And in Islam, at least in some parts of the world, that bad thing is usually a bunch of inbred Muslim shitheads coming along and beating the shit out of you. There is no demonstrably divine justice, just a bunch of idiots with no self-control taking life and death choices into their own hands. What the hell is wrong with you people? Can somebody please explain?
Atheism offers nihilism, Islam offers meaning.
Neither of which are true. Atheism offers nothing because atheism is the answer to one and only one question. Do you believe in any gods? It has nothing at all to say about any other topic. Islam doesn't offer meaning. It offers emotionally comforting invention. Here's the shit our pedophile prophet said, and you'd better listen or we're gonna kill your ass. Then they wonder why it doesn't go over well with the rational and intelligent. Your meaning is just made up, just like your stupid God. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Atheists ask if God exists, why suffering? The Quran responds, we will surely test you with fear, hunger and loss, but give good news to the patient. Quran 2, 155 to 156.
Just inventing a comforting answer out of whole cloth doesn't make that answer true. We care if it's actually a true answer, and that requires evidence, not just bald assertions. But that's really all they've got, isn't it? We have the answer right here in our book. So what? Prove it's accurate. But it's in our book. Yeah, fuck off. Because truth is demonstrable and verifiable outside of your head. It's not true because you really like the idea. It's true because you can verify it with objective evidence. And as I think it's becoming clear, this guy has absolutely nothing but "my book says a thing." And again, that's a sure sign that he's either an idiot, or he's not talking to us at all, or both. This is only going to make atheists laugh at you, which, going by the comments on this video, that's really all that's happening.
Evil isn't proof God doesn't care, it's a test of faith.
Faith is worthless. If you had facts, you wouldn't need faith. Having to rely on faith proves just how empty your beliefs are. Again, this just proves that he isn't talking to atheists, because atheists laugh at the idea of faith. Faith means nothing. Faith means that you have no facts, and that's embarrassing. The second a theist brings up faith, they've already lost the debate. You need to be better than that, because it's really kind of hard to be any worse.
Even pain has purpose, refining souls, teaching empathy.
More empty rhetoric, I see. Now, I will agree, pain is useful because it allows us to stop doing things that are hazardous and to identify areas of potential problems so that we can go and get it fixed. Pain is, get your hand off the stove, you idiot. There's no evidence for any souls, and that again is proof that this isn't aimed at atheists at all. Because you notice that they assume everyone is just like they are, right? If they believe in souls, then everybody believes in souls. If they have an imaginary friend, then everyone has an imaginary friend. They are so locked inside their heads with this religious claptrap rattling around that they can't think about anything at all rationally. A theist with a brain in their head should realize just how useless any of these concepts are in a discussion with the non-religious. But they can't do that, right? because these people have serious problems upstairs and they need immediate psychological help.
Without accountability in an afterlife, atheism can't explain why a child's suffering matters.
How is the afterlife accountability for anything? If you want to have accountability, it's got to happen in the here and now. The afterlife is just made up as a way to make the religiously delusional feel better when justice isn't done here like they wish it could be. Oh yeah, you'll get yours. Really? Prove it. Why does it suck that a child, or anyone really, suffers? Because we don't want to suffer ourselves and we have empathy towards others. That's the whole answer right there. Yet that isn't comforting enough for the religiously deluded, so they just make up something else out of whole cloth because they like the idea better. It's so obvious what's going on here, so why can't they see it? Because they don't want to, that's why.
Without God, morality is just opinion.
Well, yes, but that's true whether God exists or not, because morality is inherently subjective. Even if there was a God, that doesn't mean that whatever moral codes it might make up are objective. It would actually make it subjective, because that's how the damn thing works. Granted, the religious don't know what these words mean, because they tend to be very ignorant. But that is how it works. It's why the euthyphro dilemma works. If God makes morality up, then it's subjective. If God doesn't, then morality doesn't require God. So which one is it, theists? I expect a whole bunch of crickets chirping, don't you?
Rape, genocide, who's to say they're wrong?
Society, human beings. That's how this stuff is determined after all. Because you have to remember that in some Muslim countries, murdering gay people by throwing them off of roofs, that's perfectly fine. Rape is perfectly acceptable, so long as you don't do it to fellow Muslims. So he ought to know just how subjective it all is, but I'm sure he hasn't even thought about it at all. And I find it funny that for a Muslim channel that thinks that they're proving Islam correct, they're showing Christian signs. That kind of sends a rather strange message, don't you think? But once again, we see that our theist has never thought about any of this at all. It's just shit that sounds good to him in the moment, but makes absolutely no sense otherwise. Because that's a huge surprise to people who actually can think, isn't it? Oh wait, it's not.
Islam grounds morality in divine wisdom. Allah commands justice, kindness, and generosity. Quran 1690.
My book still says a thing. You notice this is how every single religious video goes, right? We're right. Well, how do you know that? Because we do. But how? Because we do. It's a gigantic exercise in confirmation bias by people who aren't capable of taking the necessary step or two back so that they can evaluate the religious beliefs intelligently. Because there's no intelligence going on here whatsoever. Here's the stuff we teach. So what? Prove it's actually correct. Well, we have faith. The stupidity just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? This should never fly, but for the religious who are just desperately wishing it was true, they're so absurdly ignorant that they can't see the trees when they walk into them face first.
Even atheists borrow from religious morality. They just can't explain why.
Nope, it's the other way around. Now, I'm betting he has an example or two, and that's great, we'll get there, but this is simply not the case. The religious steal from secular society, put a religious spin on it, and claim they came up with it in the first place. Again, though, he's using Christian imagery, and what the hell is up with that? Can't he find any Muslim pictures online? I really don't get it at all. Anyhow, let's get to his examples, assuming he has any, and I'll just rip them apart then. Seriously, this isn't that hard. I don't get why they're so incapable.
Atheism says lights out nothingness, but your soul knows better.
Which soul might that be? I mean, that you can prove is real. This is just delusion, pure and simple. All of the actual evidence that we have, it shows that when we're gone, we're gone. Or at the very least, we have no evidence at all that proves that there's anything else going on. This is just wishful thinking and childish emotion because they just don't want to die. Too bad. You are not in control of reality, and that's something that they will never get through their heads. Why? Because they are positively terrified of the repercussions if they actually accepted reality as it seems to be. Because these people are children, and that's pathetic.
The Quran promises, you were lifeless and he gave you life. Then he will cause you to die, then bring you back to life. Quran 22:66.
I really don't understand how stupid these people have to be not to realize that atheists don't give a fuck about your stupid book. This is true of Christians too, who just read Bible verses like anyone gives a shit. Honestly, how dumb are these people? I think they're pathological. Because how can anyone not understand that the crap that they take on faith will do absolutely nothing against people who don't share their faith? Oh right, they're not talking to us at all, are they? It's all just for show, because these people are a bunch of lying pricks. And that's not exactly a surprise.
Without resurrection, life's injustices stay unresolved. Islam answers the ultimate justice atheism can't.
Except it doesn't. It just makes up emotionally comforting slop because believers are too immature and stupid to just deal with the real world as it is. Atheism, or at the very least secularism, gives the truth as it is. The truth as the evidence and the world around us show it most likely to be. It doesn't matter how it makes you feel. It only matters how it is. It doesn't stroke the egos of the religiously deluded, though, so they kick and they scream and they run away because they can't handle the truth.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
So they just make stuff up that makes them feel good and pretend now that's the truth, even though it laughably isn't. Because they don't care about the truth. They only care about getting that constant dopamine shot in the brain so that they get all warm and tingly inside, and that is positively stupid. There is something really wrong with these people.
Atheism isn't rational. It's a leap of faith against evidence. Islam, it's the fitra you're born with.
You've got that backwards. Atheism is rational. It's the only thing following the evidence to the most credible conclusions, and that makes it rational. It doesn't just have to make shit up like you do. It doesn't have a farcical holy book to tell it what to do. That's you fuckers. It is so painfully clear that these people aren't even listening to what they're saying because what they're saying is outrageously dumb. Not that they care. This is why this guy is getting roasted in his own comments, and if I cared enough to go and look, I'm sure that every other video on his channel, the few that there are, they all look the same. So, actually, I got curious and I went and looked, and hey, it looks like I was wrong. Why? Because none of his other videos have any significant comments at all. He's getting virtually no views whatsoever, which I guess isn't surprising as a new channel, but hardly anyone is interacting. Remember, he's got 5 subscribers at the moment, at least as I wrote this, and that might have improved since then, but I can only react what I see, and it's like none of the crap that he's saying even matters, because let's be honest, it doesn't.
If this stirred your soul, hit subscribe.
Apparently, nobody cares because nobody's subscribing. I mean, granted, young channel and all, but the signs don't look good at all, do they? Of course, I don't know what's happened in the past, actually probably close to 3 months since I saw the video. So, I don't know. If you want to go and look and see how he's doing, that's completely cool with me. Let us all know down in the comments how it's going, and I might be right, I might be wrong, and it doesn't really matter either way. Now, there's more to life than making a buck. I understand that, although don't tell a lot of YouTube content creators that. So I'm not at all upset with this guy, but he's doing what all the other apologists do. He's pandering to his already faithful audience, saying the things that they already believe because they're not going to ask any of the hard questions that need to be asked. And when somebody comes along and does ask the hard questions, the theist has no worthwhile answers because they're not expecting anyone to disagree. They just repeat their blind faith over and over again and don't understand why that doesn't work against people who don't accept their dogma in the first place. That shouldn't be that hard to understand, but yeah, look at who we're talking about here, right? These people, they're just not that bright. Sadly, that is not much of a surprise, is it? So, anyway, what do you think? I wanted to do a Muslim video because the endless Christian bullshit, it gets kind of tiring, but Islam is no better. In some ways, it's even worse, if you can believe that. I've done Hindu videos in the past, and that's the exact same thing going on. The religious are all reading from the same playbook, but they're all holding it upside down. There is something really wrong with these people. If you think you understand what's going on, and better if you know how to fix it, let me know down in the comments, because the world would be a whole lot better off without the religious. What do you say?